Conan. This is me, the Grand Duchess Rasmus Conan. This is Reese, the Grand Duchess Rasmus Conan. On Thursday, have that drink from that man that take a tilt. If he is hard and strong and it is long, then girl, use those muscles, exercise those wrinkles, and let them carry you long, long. Far long you hide when you take a slurp, from which we deserve. If you wear no ring, then sink into what you can and what you may harbor and find, darling, that which will fill you will never lie. Everything in safety and everything in modesty, my dearest, my dearest, my dearest. And today I wrote about toils of time, toils of time, toils of time. A tale of tales and toils of time. So I wrote it in aspect of errors in judgment we make, and how sometimes we discriminate and judge people because of their creativity, their ability to conceptualize and to be renewed, not to be like the status quo, not to give somebody something else to think about. That is what we are talking about here. We live in the mindset and mentality of things that have been going wrong for decades and years, and we take it okay and we deem our actions as great. We've been fighting war for how many years now? And people are so stressed out. I mean, the leadership, I'm sure they are. How many wars have they lived through? Many of them. Many of NCOs in the army, as they say, they are 20 years of service, 15 years of service, same amount of time we've been fighting war. But how long does a president stay in office? 8 years. And they're there for 20 and 15 years in all these wars. But darling, such is life. And if one person doesn't come to change the mindset, then we are doomed to ourselves, and doomed to our freedoms, and doomed to our greatness, and doomed to the judgments that we make. And so I say today, tell the toils, the tokens of time, tripped and tipped since the twinkling of the tear. Time adhere and toils till the tankerous, and truck away the tempered tale to titillate the tempted fate. Tales to tomorrows, trials to the token of time, consideration of perceptions, their interpretations, though objective in their subjectivity, lies in the mindset of the openness of the environment to the to to the absorb absorbs its tales and toils. My apologies. My eyesight is very terrible. What perils the eyes most of those that never drew the lines is their misconception of who they are and the culture which they represent in the complexity of the trained. Knowledge becomes less open, less inclusive, more judgment of the unseen organization in the simplicity of the interpretation of mindless interrogation. In the simplicity of interpretation, there is mindless interrogation. Becomes apparent. They were correct. They were incorrect in tales of toils, tiles of judgment, time taken to distinguish difference. And that is it. That is me, the Grand Duchess Rasmus Kuhn, that is it for today. My dears, I have put the poem on my Facebook, Mohammedina Paradiden Rasmus Conan, and there you will find it. Or you can check my live journal, and I will read it one more time for you straight out with the visual. Tell of toils, the tokens of the tripped and tipped, since in twinkling tears, time adhere toils and tilt the tankerous, and tweaked and trucked away the tempered tale to titillate. Tell of toils that toll the train the taker to take a break, and tape tales to tomorrows trials to the token of time. Considerations of perception, their interpretation, though objective in their subjectivity, lies in the mindset of the openness of the environment to absorb its tales and toils. What perils the eyes, most of those never drew the lines, is their misconception of who they are, and those that bring a thought to spring, and the culture which they represent in the complexities of the trainer. Knowledge becomes less open, less inclusive, more judgment of unseen organization in simplicity of interpretation, mindless interrogation becomes apparent, and they were innocent tales of toils, tiles judgment, time taken to distinguish difference. This is me, the Grand Duchess Rasmus Conan, aka Ryan Tomlinson. So I bring that to you today, and I use some visuals. Some visuals. I always put myself to the front. I updated my Facebook and my live journal, so you'll find it. I put a prison because in the prison of newness, in the prison of creativity, it's a prison of creativity, being analyzed and psychoanalyzed and being subjected and tortured and whatever it is. The humiliation of difference is nothing new, and the persistence of the structure and the hierarchy consist in a mindless intelligence. Such is that we have in between all of that, the freedoms in which we promise to protect. Where are these freedoms if they are for us? What about the people that we're fighting for? Should it be exercised for them also? What about their freedoms, their intelligence, and their lives? And what threat do they pose to us if we're so big, bad, and mighty? Well, let's protect ourselves. And at the end of that, darling, one man, yes, some of us may see him as a terrorist, but this is a U.S. citizen, per the news, that was killed by a drone. What about his children and his family? Do they mean less because of the way they're dressed? And here we are, intelligence again, IRS, something that I was subjected to humiliation and the humiliation of treatment in that section. And look at them. I plead the fifth. I am bigger. I have a position. I can do this. So therefore, I am not subjected to any such lines of the ordinary person. And this is where we are in our society. Complex in its looks and attitude, a place we conquer and no longer respect. And not that it should be respected more, but what was the simplicity in this creation and the hieroglyphics? Actually, it is the father of writing and so forth. So where have we gone wrong in writing and rewriting its history? How about for time and the tales that toil? Let us never bring our wisdom, our knowledge to a boil. Instead, let us share it with intelligence so that we become wiser in sharing it and employing peace among men. This is me, the Grand Duchess Rasmus Conan, also known as Ryan Thomas. Thursday, girls. Have a good evening. Good night.